explore crops and agriculture. Plants are grown in a large scale to feed the entire population of a country. So we know that India is the second most populous country, so there are a lot of people. So we must grow a lot of plants. This practice of growing plants in a large scale is called agriculture. So we will need a lot of agriculture in India, right? And the plants, one of one kind, are grown in large quantities in a particular area or region during a particular period are called crops. Different types of crops are food grain crops, wheat, rice, maize, etc. Food grain crops are basically the crops which we eat. And next one is fruits and vegetable crops. And fruits and vegetable crops are the crops which we eat as fruits and vegetables, whereas food grain crops are the type of crops which are grains and are food, like wheat, rice, maize, etc. Oil producing crops, like some crops like mustard and sunflower and etc. have produce oil. You might have heard about sunflower oil. And next one is fiber crops like jute, cotton, etc. So most of the time your clothes are from cotton, which is grown in a large quantity. It is also agricultured. And next one is plantation crops. Plantation crops are like the examples of those are tea, coffee, etc. So plantation crops are basically, you might have heard about tea plantation or coffee plantation. So it happens in a hill. In a hill there are hill stations. So in that area they grow very much amount of tea plant and coffee plants, and that is called plantation. So that's why they are known as plantation crops. Now let us look at different crops grown in different seasons. Rabi crops. So Rabi crops are the crops which grow in winter season, which is November to April. And those are called Rabi crops. For examples are wheat, mustard, gram, etc. So Rabi in Arabic means spring. That is because the crops are usually harvested in spring. So these Rabi crops grow. So basically these Rabi crops grow in winter season, November to April, that is. And the examples are wheat, mustard, gram, etc. Rabi in Arabic means spring. These crops are because these crops are usually harvested in spring. Now next one is Kharif crops. These type of crops are sown in monsoon and are grown in monsoon. The crops which are sown with the arrival of monsoon and are grown in the monsoon season, which is June to October, is called as Kharif crops. For examples are rice, soybean, groundnut, maize, etc. So as rice needs a lot of water, monsoon season is the best for growing these type of crops. Kharif in Arabic means autumn. Why is it called autumn? Because it's grown in June to October. So after October, autumn starts. So that means they will harvest this at autumn. So basically, Kharif crops are the crops which are grown in the arrival of monsoon, and examples of those are rice, soybean, groundnut, maize. Kharif in Arabic means autumn because these crops are usually harvested in autumn. Next is stage of agriculture. So there are some stages where you do for agriculture. Those are ploughing. Ploughing means before planting the seed, the soil should be of the entire field should be loosed. This is called ploughing and is done manually by a plow or using a tractor. So if you take a hard, not so loosened soil, the plants won't grow properly in it. But when the soil is loosened, then the plants can grow properly in it. So this can be done by a plow or using a tractor. So you might have seen farmers doing it by tractor. But before, when there was no tractors, they used to do it with plow. So it is plow is a tool which needs cows or oxen. So it is connected to that, and when they will make the cow or oxen move, and then the whole field, then the whole field will be whole field's soil, whatever is there, will be loosened. Now this is plowing. You can see this is a tractor, and this is modernly they are doing it like this. And next one is adding manures and fertilizers. This is very useful because you have to add manures and fertilizers, because because whenever you're doing agriculture, we grow crops all the time. So then whatever minerals or nutrients are there, those will be not the minerals or nutrients will be there. It will get empty as the plants will use that every time we grow the plants. So we need something to increase that in some way. So like it's exactly how when you see when you're watching a device, then the battery runs out. You need to charge it so that you can use it more. Like that only, manures and fertilizers are like the charging for the entire field. If you take the entire field as a device. So it is done to increase the fertility of the soil. Manures like cow dung, etc., or chemical fertilizers like super phosphate and urea are added to soil to make it rich in minerals. It is safer to use manure instead of chemical fertilizers. Next one, you can see here. Here you can see in this picture that there is a farmer who is adding the manure. And yeah, sowing. Only healthy seeds are selected to be sown. 1 second. To be sown to grow healthy plants. If the seeds are not healthy, then the plants also won't be healthy. Seeds are to be spaced properly while sowing. They should not be sown too deep in the soil. The sowing can be done by hand or using a seed drill. So this should be the seeds should be spaced properly. If you take the seeds and plant it in all let's say you took 3 seeds and you put all those 3 seeds in the same area, then there wouldn't be enough space. So it should be enoughly spaced, and also the seed should not be too deep. Then the plant which is grown will still be inside the soil, and the sowing can be done by using hands or a seed drill. You can see here a farmer is sowing the seeds. And now next is irrigation. When seeds germinate and new plants start growing in the fields, they have to be irrigated properly. Proper irrigation means the right amount of water at the right time. Water for irrigation can be delivered to the field by irrigation canals, tube wells, pumps operated by electricity, petrol, diesel, etc. So when seeds are growing, then we need to water it. Like when you're trying to grow a plant, you should give it the right amount of water, not too much water or not too less water, and you should give it in the right amount of time, at the right time. You can't give it when too much of water. So you have to see. So when seeds germinate, so they have this machine-like things like canals, tube wells, or pumps like machines, which is most of the time operated by electricity, petrol, diesel, and etc. So we should water the crops. We should irrigate the crops. No means the crops will all dry and die. So it will become dry and then they will die. So modern methods of irrigation. Now here we have an olympiad bite. Let's see it. Modern methods of irrigation involve sprinkler system. You might have seen this in some gardens or in some areas. So there is this small machine which rotates and the water comes. So this is sprinkler system. It comes like rain, but it's not rain. So it comes like rain to the plants, and the other method is drip irrigation. Drip irrigation has been developed keeping in mind the shortage of water resources in some places. This system consists of pipes and tubes which supply water to the plant drop by drop, thus minimize the wastage. So when it is given drop by drop, it will make sure it's given the right amount and the plants can take it at the right time. And next one is protecting the crops. The crops should be protected from grazing animals by fencing or some other means or some other methods. So insecticides and pesticides are sprayed to protect the crop from insects like locusts, caterpillars, grasshoppers, etc. As we have seen in the first chapters, we know that the locusts are the most destructive migratory insects as they can destroy crops. That's why we must put insecticides, as then the locusts can't eat the crops. And pesticides should be there because they have to stop pests like rats and moles, etc. It is better to use pesticides and insecticides made from plants such as neem rather than using the chemical ones. So you might even use this in house. You might put neem in clothes because the insects hate neem. So that means when you're putting the insecticides or pesticides made from neem, that means it will be better for crops too. So next one is weeds that grow in the main crop should be pulled out, because then it would be competing for food with other plants. So when the food is given, someone takes it and someone takes it too. So we need to remove the weeds. No means there will be shortage of food for the main crops like wheat, rice, or so. Sometimes farmers also use scarecrows in their field to protect the crops from birds. So some birds eat the crops, so we should not allow it. So birds are scared of humans, so they make a scarecrow to make sure that no birds come and eat the crops. Next one is here you can see they are spraying pesticides. Next one is harvesting. As crops mature, they are ready to be cut down. This is called harvesting. A particular part of a plant like fruits and apples are an entire plant like sugarcane, flowers, examples are jasmine, seed and stem, rice and wheat, etc. or roots of examples are sweet potato are harvested. Harvesting is done by hand or using a sickle or by using a machine called harvester. So after growing the plant, when the part of the plant which we want is completely mature or ready to eat or ready to be cut down or ready to be used, then at that time we must cut it down. Then that is called harvesting. A particular part of a plant like fruits, in apples only fruits you take, and then or sometimes entire plants for sugarcane, flowers like jasmine, and seeds and stem, rice and wheat, or roots, sweet potato, are harvested. Harvesting can be done by hand or using a sickle or by using a machine called harvester. Here you can see that there is a farmer who is harvesting the crops using a sickle. And next one is threshing and winnowing. After crops are collected, the grains are separated from stalk by beating the stems hard against a surface is called threshing. This is also done by a machine called thresher. So this is threshing. So you will use threshing for So for doing it, you will take for like wheat or rice, whatever you're growing, and then you will put it against and beat it hard. Then all the seeds will come out. Then you should take the seeds. And next is winnowing. How is winnowing done? You should take the seeds and then you should put like from up you should drop the seeds. Then whatever and then the seeds will form in one area. So there will be two clear heaps. One will contain the grain and one will contain the chaff. Next one is storing. Flowers, fruits and vegetables cannot be stored for long, as they have to be sown and they have to be quickly transported to the market. Cereals and pulses can be stored if they are dry and clean containers. Because if you keep a food in not dry or not clean dirty containers, then the germs will start coming and then they will spoil the already ready to use whatever we have in that ready to use food only. And next one is, and also fruits and vegetables also can't be stored for long. Only cereals and pulses can be stored in and only should be stored if they are kept in dry and clean containers. This is a sack of wheat and this is the storage for grains. Most of the grains are used as food and some are kept as seeds to planted for the next season. But these grains again be protected from insects and pests. For this they sometimes use fumigated and are stored in silos or jute bags or metallic bins. Now we have ourselves at self-test 3. Let's solve this. First question is, select the odd one out on basis of type of crops. A is mustard, B is maize, C is gram, and D is P. So if you see, mustard, gram and pea are rabi crops, whereas maize is a kharif crop. So P is the right answer. Okay, now let us see second question. Select the incorrect statement. Seed should be sown very deep in the soil. When seed, and that is A. Next one is B. When seeds start to germinate and change into seedlings, the field needs to be watered properly. These are unwanted plants that compete for the main plants with nutrition. Superphosphate is a chemical fertilizer that helps enrich the soil in nutrition. So B is correct, as the seeds when seeds starts to germinate, we should water it properly. And C is also correct. Weeds are unwanted plants that compete with the main crop for nutrition. And D, superphosphate is a chemical fertilizer that helps enrich soil in nutrition. That means B, C, D are correct, whereas A is wrong. So they are asking the incorrect statement. So A is the right answer. Next one is third. Separating the grain from chaff can be done by plowing, sowing, winnowing, threshing. So we can cross out plowing and sowing. We can look at winnowing and threshing, because plowing and sowing are when we are planting the plants, whereas separating the grain from a chaff is when they are already harvested. Now if you see, threshing means when you are taking the stems and beating it hardly, then the seeds will come out with any of the chaff. So at that time you will use winnowing, which is dropping what we have harvested from up, so that the chaff can go through the other heap. So making C, winnowing, the right answer. Next one is, refer to the given figure. Which of the following agriculture practices is being done by a person? We have looked at this in harvesting, and even if you haven't, if you look at him, you can see that he is cutting the crops. As you can see that there is a sickle in here. As you can see, there is a sickle in here. which so that means he is hard testing. Fifth one is, which of the following is used to store grains? Jute bags, silos, metallic bins, or B, all of this. We know wheat or other type of grains are also stored in jute and metallic bags and silos. So D, all of this is the right answer. So friends, next is going to be exercises. This we are going to do in another video. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Please subscribe.